Good morning, everybody, and welcome to your D2CL action today. We're starting things off with EHOME up against HGT. Let's get straight into the draft. I can welcome in Slesh, my co-commentator. How are you doing this morning? Because I'm a little bit ill.
And I'm a little bit tired.
Oh no!
God, no. Okay, let's get warmed up a little bit. But no, I had a bit of a rough night, full of frustrations and whatnot. But you would know all about it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
No, that fully aside, though, I did set the alarm clock for this match, so. Let's have a look what those two teams have in store. HGT, Hyper Glory team, the team that is most of the time being incredibly inconsistent. You know, on their good days, they beat VG Gaming. On their bad days, they lose 0-2 to DK. So everything in between. Sometimes they perform incredibly well. Sometimes they just have a bit of a rough day and heavily underperform. It does happen.
Yeah.
And EHOME, it's currently the jokes going around in Chinese circles about EHOME just going 50-50 against every team. I think they drew like the last 4 games or something. And yeah, it's a team that's been it's been receiving a lot of attention since both RTK and LANM were coming back basically to help out the team. 2 rather experienced players. RTK rather infamous for his offlane plays. Doesn't matter if he's Batrider or Clockwork. He either makes or breaks the game, essentially. And Hyper Glory team, I believe, recently their success is often hinging on their own offlane as well. Icy,
yeah.
So been known to be rather inconsistent, but sometimes he has those games with mostly on Axe and on Clockwork. Those are his 2 signature heroes, where he is all of a sudden he starts stomping his lane. Before that, he was considered the weak link of the team. I mean, people still, the verdict is out. Some people still consider him to be the weak link. ZSMJ been having really stable performances overall. Kaka on his recently being, it's not recently anymore. I mean, that was like 3 months ago. Now playing support, but he is the resident Wisp player on their team, and he tends to make really big plays.
I've got to say, I've been really impressed with Pretty Ho as well. Like, whenever he's picked up Chen or something like that, he's always made those timings work really well for them. Obviously, I think HGT is one of those teams where they rely quite heavily on getting a good draft and good laning stage initially, because their decision-making mid-game can be a little bit iffy. Whereas EHOME, like you said, they've got RTK. His decision-making is usually top-notch, but he can make those individual moves which make you sort of raise an eyebrow and think, hang on, what was he thinking there?
Yeah, or 2 or 4. Yeah, it's in the grand scheme of things. Most of the time, his thoughts aren't that bad. You know, it's sometimes just his teammates can't really keep up with this whole thought process. He basically says, "Oh, okay, I just spotted somebody on your radar. Let's go." And then his whole team was like, "Go on whom?" And then at that point, where you're still realizing what's going on, he already jumps in. So he sometimes just looks like a bit of a retard doing it. But I think overall, there's a certain. I mean, you don't really become run-up to the international for no reason. I mean, he was a captain of VG Gaming, and I think a lot of that success can also be attributed to him and his leadership style. So let's see if he can bring something for the young guys of EHOME. It didn't really work out with the 2 Malaysian players of Ohio and Mushi, but maybe having an all-Chinese lineup might work out in their favor instead.
Now, who is the light blue player on EHOME? Because there's RTK, is that ZYF?
Or is that LAN? Mean, I don't even know what... Is that the light blue slot as in the 3rd slot?
Yeah.
I haven't checked his profile yet. I would imagine it's LANM. Okay. Because I think he and RTK are still tagged up as stand-ins. I don't even know if they are permanent members yet. Which would make the 5th slot orange would make him ZYF, and he does change his nickname very, very often. So
great.
It does get very confusing overall, and most of the time his nicks are so they don't really make too much sense. Let's put it that way. But HGT Air, their solo mid player, it's sometimes. He is, everybody knows him for his micro skills, of course, but he is a great laner overall. I think recently he got wrecked rather hard by Newbie's Moo, but, you know, every once in a while he does dominate his lane, and he has a hero to do so this game as well with Viper, although I'm pretty sure he would prefer playing the SF on the opposing side than playing the Viper. Nobody likes playing Viper.
Right, I've just turned on Dota TV in game. It's been an interesting morning. Right, so EHOME with Vengeful Spirit, Tied Under Witch Doctor, Shadow Fiend, the Venge and SF. Usually we see, or quite often we see picked up in the first 1-2. The minus armor there from Wave of Terror and Presence of the Dark Lord does combine pretty well to go and take Roshan. They do have that, dire advantage. Both sides have their advantages and disadvantages. The Dire have that slightly quicker route into the Roche pit, and it's a little bit sneakier as well. HGT, though, going for a pretty heavy, all-out brawling lineup here. Axe, Viper, Jug. They're three pretty tanky cores that can deal out quite a lot of damage, sustained over time, while Wisp and Rubik going to be keeping people alive and disabling as much as they can.
Yeah, HGT's lineup, I mean, it's a bit all over the place, I have to say. I mean, they really like the Wisp. I mean, it wasn't banned, so I can fully understand why you first pick it. But then again, he doesn't really exactly combo with any particular hero. And Axe is, as Priest mentioned, one of the heroes that IC's been extremely successful with. ZSMG on Juggernaut as well, no big surprise. They really like the Rubik, be it for Pretty Ho or for Kaka. Both of them are very proficient Rubik players. And then the Viper just for lane dominance, I guess. But they have a very early fighting number, as you mentioned, and they have to. It's a lineup that if it gets behind, they really can't do anything. They have to be ahead. Like, if they somehow fall behind, they don't really have a fallback mechanic to get back into the game. The late game doesn't really match up that well against EHOME, in my opinion, at least. Juggernaut is nice, late game. Axe having a BKB piercing disable as well, but Viper tails out rather quickly. Io, as mentioned previously, doesn't really combo exactly with any of those heroes. Juggernaut's still the best. Let's see if Rubik can make the big steals, though. If you can steal Ravage, maybe they can win those mid-game teamfights decisively and then turn it to their favor.
Yeah, Ravage, Sonic Wave, even something like Wave of Terror, just continually spam that out as you go. It wouldn't be too bad for them. But laning-wise, how are we looking for EHOME? Is it going to be safe lane Quap? Yeah. Safe lane Quap against the Axe off lane, that's going to be pretty difficult for him. Just throw out Shadow Strikes left and right. The two supports, Venge and Witch Doctor, are then left open. They can move their way towards mid and help out Inflame, who's going to be in a 1 versus 1. No. Is the Wisp actually going to sit here with Viper?
That would be weird. Because Viper, I think they just want to get the ward down a bit quicker and using the Viper for transportation. Essentially getting a bit quicker around the map, and he should be fine. They would ideally, of course, like to get a bounty rune and then instantly pick up a bottle. It's a very common thing to see.
Well, does that mean this is going to be a safe lane tri-lane? Wisp is going to try and tether through these trees and stack as much as he can. Just give a little bit of a bank for that Axe to fall back on if things are going to be rough up here. It's not going to be an easy lane at all for this Axe up against the triple ranged threat. For EHOME's tri-lane.
By the way, it doesn't look like it's Lamb. It is, in fact, a pub star, as it seems. I mean, I could see his Steam profile, and I don't believe that's Lamb. So I highly doubt it is. Let's see. If he makes a big plays, maybe, well, we wouldn't worry too much about it. But we're just looking to get a bounty rune on bot lane, and that's enough gold to get instant bottle. And meanwhile, top lane Inflame takes his share and levels up Necromastery, since he does hit level 2 a lot quicker. So having a bit of support from DDC, as it looks like, expecting at least a dual lane, and they would be right, in fact. Viper, Wisp, dual lane mid.
Wisp, Viper. So is the plan here just for Air to go and try and stand up on high ground? Get up onto the top of this ramp and demolish Inflame on the Shadow Fiend? Because they know they're going to be losing top pretty heavily. The move from DDC towards this mid lane is a smart one. Witch Doctor Cast does really well against Wisp. Whoever he's tethering up, going to get stopped in their tracks.
It's just a bit, lackluster what Wisp can do with Viper, since he doesn't exactly spam out anything, so he doesn't need the mana regen exactly. And he doesn't burst particularly well, I guess. It's okay for the movements. His Viper's base movements is piss poor, so let's see. Maybe they just want to crush mid lane so hard that Inflame can't really catch up anymore. Right.
Yeah, maybe they were expecting the Necromastery first, because if he had gone Razor's level 1, he would have been able to push back onto Air and Kaka, do a little bit of damage, control the creep wave where he wanted it, and maybe find a kill on the Wisp with a lucky cast from DDC. Even now, once Shadow Fiend hits level 2, this lane isn't as clear-cut for the Wisp and Viper. Sure, it gives them a level 1 advantage, maybe, where they just apply a lot of pressure, but it just gets more and more difficult for them. And the fact that the Wisp hasn't gone back to stack and pull and control runes, I guess close to the 2-minute mark, he's going to go and get the top rune.
Yeah, I mean, he's already used almost all his bottle charges. He's got one more coming. And they are kind of revealing that they have a ward there, but there's a VS coming in as well.
Misses the Maledict, but Inflame wants more. He's got razors.
One raise, two raise.
One more right click. Yep. Vengeful
Doesn't
Spirit
miss
finds the
uphill.
kill. Of course he doesn't. Lucky. See, what am I supposed to call Avenge? Because it's not Lanham, so I'll just call him Venge.
I'm actually let's see if I can actually find something that would make it pronounceable for you. View Steam profile. Meanwhile, you can have a look at how RTK is doing on the off lane, I guess.
Yeah, 8 for 2 up against Juggernaut's 5 for 6. 6 for 6 now, so ZSMJ doing well. Getting some denies in there, but how is RTK doing this well against Juggernaut and Rubik? It's ridiculous.
Well, Rubik can't really zone him. His base damage isn't exactly impressive, so and they don't have a second support, so RTK just postures up and starts hitting people, and Rubik can't really do too much about it. But he doesn't have any tangles left. He still has one more self though, and maybe they are even gonna just force the self by lifting him into Blade Fury or something along those lines.
Yeah, there's level 2 Blade Fury on ZSMJ, so maybe that's what they're looking for. Not something we see too often nowadays, but I guess when you're pressured into the situation where you need more damage, getting the extra level in Blade Fury is pretty much worth it. But yeah, look at the Rubik. He goes up to get one hit, RTK just turns around, looks at them, says, yeah, what do you want? Chase you down.
Yeah. Interesting that he does pick up an early ring of regen. I mean, there are plenty of things that he could buy with it, be it a mech, 4-staff, tranquil boots, pick your poison essentially. Kaka TP some with spirits, but dude, that's okay, so they know. Fair enough. It's rather obvious what he's doing at the moment, but maybe thinking that top rune is too hot to contest, so TP support in order to get bot rune instead, and RTK is now in no position to contest.
Yeah, limit it as much as you can what RTK is getting. Vengeful Spirit does find an invis rune though. And looking towards this mid lane, Viper, Air, he's dropping low on HP. One stun and a couple of razors will definitely seal his death.
Yeah, but now Kaka's here, so I don't really actually think they can kill. It's gonna be a bit hard. Air is also very, very far back. Kaka already pre-casting a bit of overcharge so he can heal the Viper in an instant.
So last hit was the Queen of Pain going pretty much uncontested up on this top lane. 26 for 15. While the Juggernaut bot, 90 for 12. Shadow Fiend really showing, mid lane. They throw out the stun, but there's nothing really they can do to follow up. The Wisp a little bit slow on the reaction there. But the Viper under no real threat under the tower.
Yeah, but I mean, you said it previously, you know, I mean, Wisp, Viper dual lane, it doesn't really win you the lane, and in terms of CS right now, Inflame's already leading by a little bit, and it's only gonna get worse when he hits level 5, and there are also a few neutrals camps waiting for him to take.
Did you see that small exchange? Sentry wards both getting crushed. Bot lane, RTK, Pretty Hawk gets one hit down, but does about 5 damage or something like that.
Yeah, they can't really do anything.
Icy has actually left top lane. Don't know how long ago he did that. Picks up Tranquil Boots, TP, and it's going to head into the jungle. They do have... they got one medium camp stacked for him.
Yeah, overall, saving Queen of Pain is very common to pick up 2 levels in the Shadow Strike, so you have the chasing potential, and as a melee hero, Axe can't really do too much about it. So it's probably the smart decision to go there.
Dive at mid.
Well. Yep.
Yeah, they can't kill him now. Kaka is in a lot of trouble here. Taken out by the Vengeful Spirit TP's in. Surprising he didn't run back with the Viper though.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit odd. Icy
Inflame gets a couple of razors down. Icy does have the Berserker's Call, but this might just be his death. Picks up the Bounty Rune, but a final raise finishes him off. Bounty Rune worth? I don't think so.
Not quite. Or EHOME already off to a rocking start, and we already said during the draft, you know, ideally HGT want to be ahead so they can push with Wisp and Juggernaut healing ward.
They're going to try and kill bot. They've got RTK, but he's going to TP out, and there's no stuns remaining.
Yeah,
Back to
it's just the experience showing there. I mean, picking up an early TP score, knowing that they have to initiate with Rubik Lift, otherwise they don't have any disable to stop it.
And now mid lane again, the two supports, in fact, taking air down to about half HP. The DD Vengeful Spirit, along with a couple of stuns. EHOME, like you said, their laning phase has gone really well.
Yeah.
And this is without thinking about the Queen of Pain has just been sitting up on top lane farming away. On the courier, she has a bottle, magic stick, treads, 7 minutes in.
Yeah. So we don't exactly see which direction he's going to be heading. I mean, awkward is always good. As long as he doesn't go Agnes, I'm happy. I mean, we've said it so many times during the cast already that I don't think it needs to be repeated that much. Although Agnes this game would even... Oh, that is actually getting a bit unfortunate there with the Omni Slash on bot lane.
I don't know, even if he hit that final swipe, he would have needed another, what, 1 right click, 2 right clicks, and RTK gets the Anchor Smash in. He's still pushing it a little bit close there.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have, personally, I wouldn't have attempted the kill just because of the fact that there were creeps. So.
It's desperation, though.
Yeah, you know, kind of just, yeah, they want to get something done, but you know, Viper isn't exactly a hero that goes to other lanes and starts ganking people, and Axe desperately needs his blink before he can do anything. Rubik is far too, well, actually level 4 isn't too bad at almost 8 minutes in.
Yeah, they've got quite a lot of heroes, HGT. This is something I've talked with Scant about a couple of times. When you've got multiple heroes that require one big item to actually get started. You know, you look at EHOME and you think, well, Tidehunter, yeah, he'd like a blink, but Arcane's fine for him. 1 TP into a tower and he can get that Ravage down. Witch Doctor Revenge, not item dependent at all. Queen of Pain can go for the small incremental items, build up. But then you look at the Radiant. Blink, Axe, the Viper needs the mech. Juggernaut needs a whole bunch of stat items, Mask of Madness. You know, you're relying on these items to actually start your game. If your laning phase doesn't go well and you don't get the build up into these items, where do you go and farm them?
Yeah, overall it's kind of tough. I mean, Viper is one of those heroes that just stays on one lane and farms. You know, he doesn't do anything else really, and at least not until he gets his mech, and then maybe he starts grouping with the team. Then again, they would need a hero to actually deal damage to towers, and they don't exactly have that. They have some decent sustain, but they can't siege that well, in fact. It's a bit hard. As I said, I don't really like the draft from HGT. It's a bit all over the place. They tried to do too many things at once and didn't exactly work out. Well, EHOME, they just have a more well-rounded lineup. They scale well into late game. They have good team fight. They have some physical, some magical, and yeah, it's just a good mix of everything, really. And Inflame is gonna have a faster mech timing than the Viper for sure. And also picking up treads and bottle, which Viper doesn't have.
No surprise at all, really. Shadow Fiend's such a great farmer on lane, but also, if he dips back into the jungle, he can pick up some last hits there. ZSMJ looks like he is going for that Mask of Madness. Picked up the Morbid Mask, but progression is a little bit slow here for HGT. The top 2 last hitters, in fact, let's have a look at net worth. It's more defining of the story right now. We've got a couple of seconds before this Smoke Gang hits. 5,000 net worth on the Shadow Fiend, 4.4k. Up on that Queen of Pain, then the next 3 heroes.
Yeah,
sure, they're Radiant. Yeah, Kaka, stunned up. Maledicted a scream from ZYF there, will finish him off. And now this is a tier 1 tower, pretty damn easily. There's no force, there's no reaction that can actually come in here from HGT that can stop this.
Yeah, they can't even TP anybody in there. You know, it just would be a speed. And it is, in fact, the Dire that take the first tower. And they are trying to, I mean, mid tier 1 tower is still untouched, you know, that's very little they can do about it. ZSMJ desperately trying to push in bot lane, but what can he really do against a big watermelon?
Yeah, turn on Ring of Ankler and then what? You can have Anchor Smash spammed out, you now got mech on the Shadow Fiend, so their push can, you know, be sustained that much longer over yours. Defensive wise, what's your fallback plan for HGT? Blink, Dagger, and Axe? Because that's your only real big defensive spell.
Pretty much. I mean, it's their only decent team fight as well, but like they don't exactly have another particularly good team fight hero. So I see he's gonna farm the last little stack, and he should have enough gold for Blink. Then again, it's still so difficult because EHOME they have swap soon, well, like soonish, I guess. He's only level 4, but close to level 5. At one point, he's gonna get swap, and even the hero that they initiate on, what are you gonna do if X just, you know, calls somebody and then swap happens. You have no other hero that can follow up on it, or keep chasing. Really. Witch Doctor also notoriously difficult and annoying with his Voodoo Restoration. Inflame already having mech, certainly helping things along, and if you do not burst the Queen of Pain, then yeah, good luck killing her.
And ROTK with a massive Ancient stack, giving the Venge and Witch Doctor some much needed experience as well. So that level 6 on Venge is going to hit a lot sooner than we thought.
Yes, indeed. I mean, EHOME, they were just a lot more efficient. They had the medium camp stack, they had the big camp stacked in the jungle, and RTK was stacking the Ancients by himself. ZYF picking up Drums of Endurance is a bit of an unusual item on the Queen of Pain. It's nice for stats overall. So Drums is one of those items that, unless you have a really good, okay, never mind.
Fed dropping low, but there's the Ravage from RTK. No one has died yet. ZSMJ is looking for the first kill onto the Vengeful Spirit, but now the Sonic Wave comes in. The level 10 Queen of Pain finding one after another. As 3 from HGT fall, and now it's 0 to 7. 12.5 minutes in, right outside the Roche pits. So EHOME walk in, they know exactly what they want, and they know exactly how they're going to get it.
They have one level in Presence of the Dark Lord, they have one level in Wave of Terror. So this should be an easy Roche takedown. Even, I mean, ZSMJ, it looked a bit awkward. I thought he had enough time to get off his ultimate before he died, but seemingly not the case. And even if he did, you know, you see the HP on EHOME's heroes right now, and they were really in no risk of dying. And even if you lose RTK, then space created as always.
Yeah, back to that Drums on Queen of Pain. Nice stats, but I saw the Rebel Magi and I thought, oh, okay, it's Orchid. It's definitely Orchid. And then suddenly he's got Drums. Blink Dagger up on RTK now. Item-wise, EHOME looking pretty hot. Net worth lead, 5,000 in climbing, probably about 6k right now. And experience. That one fight, because they took a large Ancient stack, won a fight where they killed, what, 3 or 4 heroes, then took Roshan, all of a sudden they go from being, you know, 1,000 ahead to quadrupling or quintupling that lead.
Yeah, it's only gonna get worse once the other two tier 1s start dropping and they get map control. For Queen of Pain, I don't even know how much Orchid's gonna do this game, and sometimes it's a very good thing, but there isn't one particular hero that you need to shut down that badly with Orchid in order to kill him. And Wisp would probably be next to the Juggernaut the whole time anyway, so you're not killing him. Access to tanky, Viper's too tanky. I mean, it's good against the supports, of course, but I think this game in Necromorph Queen of Pain could be really good, and would also fit in with the theme of being able to force towers.
They know where Icy is, they've seen him. That's really a Radiant Observer Ward. That's one of the most unusual Radiant Observes I've ever seen. Was that to defend against people coming from this direction? It's so defensive.
Possibly. I mean, it's also outside of the sentry ward.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess if regular sentry ward placements are sort of around this area here, you're not going to be able to de-ward one down here.
Yeah. Maybe they're even thinking, you know, we're probably going to lose the tower at some point, so might as well get it out before we do so.
Bot lane, Icy's looking for it. Another good reason to get Drums is that you're not going to die instantly to the axe. Relocate? Okay, maybe you do die. With Pretty Horse stealing the short-range raise. Fair enough.
There's some nice burst overall, and there's always new.
The Relocate's coming back in though. Do they beat both? Yep, they do. Ravage catches too. Malik down was pretty hard. The Requiem from Inflame. Man, they get one kill down on bot on the Queen of Pain, but how many do they lose in return? Swap. Good blink from Icy after the swap. Manages to get him out.
And the kill on the Queen of Pain was nice and everything, but they lose 2 in return, even if it's just 2 supports. They're gonna lose an objective for sure. They can't really prevent it from happening. For Quop going Shadow Blade. Okay, well that's something that also, once again, a bit unusual, but ZYF known to being a bit unconventional sometimes in his item builds.
I was wondering if he goes for like a DPS build like Maelstrom or something like that. Shadow Blade, I guess it works. But you were asking who's the Wisp relocate target? Who's the partner for Wisp? Apparently it's Rubik with a raise.
Yeah, I mean, it's just poor man's relocate, basically. Yeah. I mean, he is good with, if once they can actually hit stuff, you know, with being behind the Juggernaut, and Juggernaut pops Mask of Madness, Wisp pops Overcharge and keeps him alive, and slicing and dicing, you can have some sick attack speed, but right now Juggernaut is way too underfarmed for that to happen. He's rather squishy.
Inflame goes back for the Yules after mech. Smoke up from HGT though, heading down their own mid lane. Blink forward, they found Inflame. The swap is ready, gonna try and take him. No. Telekinesis up, Vengeful Spirit can't get in there now. The blink in from RTK, he doesn't have Ravage. The Sonic Wave will land onto air, but now in comes ZSMJ. Omni Slash across 2, and the spin's probably going to take down the Queen of Pain as they're trying to battle up against the onslaught from HGT. Death Ward almost takes him down, but yeah, Icy jumping in and saving his teammate. Now the swap gets used and brings the Juggernaut back into range of Inflame's raise.
Man, that was as good of a fight that you can hope for if you're HGT. Like, they did everything right. They killed the SF, but unfortunately he had an Aegis, and they killed the Queen of Pain as well. They killed the Tide, so all 3 cores going down, but 2 of their own at the same time as well. And even if they, they come out kind of evenly on that fight, and they can't translate it into any objectives whatsoever, and it's only going to get harder. Queen of Pain being a bit careless, a bit of an aggressive blink, and Juggernaut getting a pretty big Omni Slasher. It was level 2 after all, and together with the Mask of Madness buff up, took down Tidehunter almost instantly, and Queen of Pain saw shortly after.
Now Queen of Pain running around with that Shadow Amulet. Come on, go and farm the jungle, finish it off with something. Ah, my throat. Oh, it's okay? Yeah, all of a sudden my throat was like, it's time to die.
That's not good.
What kind of items do we have up on the supports on EHOME? Because I was taking a look at Radiant, they're sort of, Wisp regular items, Urn, Bottle, Brown Boots, which he didn't have a couple of minutes ago. They're freshly purchased, pretty much. Rubik with Tranquils, but over on the Dire, Witch Doctor with Urn and Treads, stacking up some stats pretty nicely. Vengeful Spirit with Medallion and Tranquils. She's 306, for God's sake. Vengeful Spirit is 306.
I'm currently thinking if maybe it's just a Smurf kind of LAN or something, and that would be a bit of a surprise. But yeah, overall, I'm not really seeing any faults so far with the EVS play.
In fact,
ZYF, don't run uphill, don't run uphill, don't run uphill.
Oh god. No vision, walking up the ramp of death, but in comes RTK once again, saving his teammate with a big old Ravage onto 4. Icy can't get the call in. Still on cooldown. RTK gonna get slammed into the ground in flame. Oh boy. Mules, Mech, can't get anything off. And this is a big fight for HGT. They're taking down hero after hero. Queen of Pain is still alive and trying to wreak havoc.
Mana for Scream, but it doesn't matter in the end. So even though it was sort of an awkward engagement really from EHOME, it still worked out in the end. Pretty Hero stole the blink. And ZYF has no mana for blink. In fact, he could pop the stick charges, but then Pretty Hero's gonna have blink us again. So he shouldn't die. Yeah.
Yeah, that fight looked good for HGT, and then good for EHOME, and then awful for EHOME. Then suddenly HGT lost all 3 of their cores within a space of like 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah, RTK was really on point with the Ravage. Unfortunately, SF wasn't next to him at that point, so they could have decisively won the fight if SF was there somewhere. Or if he would have had an initiating item, but looks like he's foregoing the blink and instead going straight into the Skadi.
But yeah, before that fight kicked off, I wanted to look at KDA. Both of the supports on EHOME have 0 deaths. 3010, 309. What's going on here?
Oh well, I mean, they're playing well overall. D2CL had a huge death wall there if you saw it. It was just zoning everybody out, and everybody was so focused on trying to kill Quap as well as SF that they couldn't really deal with the Witch Doctor. And if you think about it, unless Rubik lifts in, or Juggernaut saves Omni Slash until he starts channeling, or X actually calls him somehow, then they have nothing to interrupt Death Ward.
Yeah, and obviously the tone of your voice that saving Omni Slash not really an option, but yeah. Blink Berserker's cool. That's going to be used initially, or if Death Ward is down. Actually, blinking during Death Ward is going to be difficult anyway. So it's got to be down to that Rubik on Pretty Hole. Blink forward. They found Inflame, but yeah, RTK, right place, right time. The relocate comes in with Juggernaut, and Inflame might actually go down here. He uses himself, but he's got no actual way of escape. Requiem not going to fly. ZYF has joined the fight. Omni Slash goes down onto 2, but I don't know where this fight's going.
Is so annoying though. Yeah. Looking forward with the minus armor, even such a tanky hero like Air is gonna fall eventually with a complete slugfest. He's gonna use ulti? Yeah, there we go.
Finally. But ZSMJ decides to return in. Wisp has managed to get back into the fight after relocating away. And it looks like ZSMJ and Kaka, they want to fight, they don't want to fight, they want to fight. Kaka does, but ZSMJ does not. RTK has the Urn on him. Queen of Pain getting sliced a little bit there. Man. These fights are nuts.
That's a manly wisp there. It's really not caring too much, just going in overall, and that's a big fight for HGT once again.
Yeah, they come out the victors there with 4,500 experience, about 1,500 gold. But what's the swing like on the net worth graph? Because we've seen EHOME have this lead for a long time, and you can see it in the graph. The fact they sort of win a team fight to begin with, then they start losing it, then they win it a little bit more.
It's always a bit all over the place. Like, it's so important that they get a blink call off on a priority target and somehow burst him down. And this time around, Inflame, despite the fact that he could pop Mac as well as Yule Scepter on himself, he was too low to actually survive that fight. So there was no Requiem to be had. They didn't have Ravage. Queen of Pain ulti only came off cooldown in the middle of the fight, so that didn't exactly help either. And I believe VS was a bit out of position, so she couldn't swap out the SF.
Yeah, I guess that was a big factor. They didn't have Ravage, and that's off cooldown now, so maybe they look for a fight, because they've definitely got that big old team fight disable at their disposal. Roshan is alive, though. They're looking at Icy down on bot lane. I'm gonna find him.
Bit annoying to kill, though, with a Blade Mail pickup.
Venge is gonna scout out Roche and head on into the pit, so they know he's alive, but actually
I think they can do it. I mean, because top tower is gonna fall either way, and they can't do anything about it. It's too low, so might as well just take Roche.
So that Ring of Regen that RTK picked up, it was just for sustaining the lane. So far, anyway. You know, obviously you said it could be Force Staff, could be Mech, but obviously SF going for the Mech. Maybe Force Staff after Refresher.
I think Force Staff would really work wonders here, actually. And if you just go naked, blink into, well, blink Arcane Mist, of course, and then into Refresher Orb, I don't think you have the mana to get everything off, do you? You could use a little bit of boost. We often see, I mean, it's either Force Staff or Shiver's Guard sometimes being picked up before you go for the full Refresher.
Well, it's 450 plus 375, so that's 8 something. Oh my god, my brain actually does not work.
Yeah, it's too early in the morning.
825?
Okay, let's actually have a look at it.
It's 825, but then you get the 135, you get the 270 mana. You've got enough, definitely, from 2 arcane boots, and you can throw out a gush or something as well if you want to. Or Anchor Smash.
Even for level 3 Ravage as well? Because that's
Maybe
always
not,
a crucial point.
Maybe not level 3 Ravage then.
Yeah. Yeah, 700, there's 1k, yeah. It's gonna be tight. And you would probably need a few Magic Wand charges if you want to get level 3 Ravage off 2 times in a row. Without using any of the spell, that is.
Karkar wanted that bottom rune. The Queen of Pain is here and ready though. Misses uphill the final. Oh, no way. Does Wisdom die himself? He earns up. He's going to try and juke around as the healing ward goes down. Karkar still surviving through all of the damage. No way.
Easy uphill miss.
That sneaky old wisp.
Okay, come on. Let's be honest about it. It's got a bit of karma coming back. VS didn't miss uphill for that first blood.
True.
So
he's getting his revenge this way. Ogre Club for the Wisp. I'm gonna guess Halberd.
I'm thinking it's BKB.
Really?
Yeah. I actually think it's BKB. I mean, Halberd, you put it on the SF, I guess it would be good. And pretty sure it's a BKB. It's with Chinese teams, for some reason, whenever there's a tide in the opposing team and then you see an Ogre Club in the inventories, you know it's a BKB. They always buy BKBs against Ravage.
What is this? Quop Dialga.
Yeah, as in Quop just disconnected. Sorry. Yeah. Nothing fancy.
Apology accepted, I guess. Well, it gives us a bit of time, look over the metrics and things like that. KDA don't really care about. Last hits and denies, who gives a damn. Hero level 16 on the Queen of Pain, Juggernaut 15, SF 15. But you look at the Radiant team and they're all struggling to get past level 11. The Viper, is he actually the lowest? No. This is one thing that confuses me sometimes about Dota 2. In the hero level tab, you kind of think, well, Viper, he's at the bottom there. Why doesn't it go based on experience? But Viper is nearly level 12, so he's not that bad. It's just the fact this Quop is so damn fat.
Yeah. There are a few questionable plays, I think. Both deaths could have been avoided if you played it perfectly. In the end, you know, he can still safely farm, but Viper has to rely on pure slow-ass right-clicks to farm, and can't really rotate that well either. So if Viper somehow falls behind, we always mention it. And that's why the hero has been falling off in terms of popularity. If you cannot guarantee that he stomps his lane, then he isn't really all that useful.
ROTK, super close to that refresher orb. And they're just going to go straight into tier 2 tower here. There's very little that HGT can do to counteract this. Juggernaut's up on top lane, saving up plenty of gold. 3.5k. I mean, what is his next item even? Do you go Skadi? Do you go for Basher? What is going to win you team fights?
Yeah, either of the two would be good, I guess. I mean, you could really benefit for some base HP. I mean, I was talking about mid lane. That was really sloppy. I mean, they had 4 heroes. They could have easily gotten the tower, but they let Viper get the deny. And but no, we get something for our troubles, I guess. Ancient stack being taken.
You deny the tower, we take your ancients. No problem whatsoever.
I'm gonna be happy with it. Right now, HGT, they really would prefer not to fight into the ages of the SF. I don't think they can kill him twice. Got 2k HP, mech, Yule, Scepter, and a Haste Rune bottled up as well. It's hard.
It definitely is. And you've got DDC with the young club, so probably BKB for him. I don't know. Aghanim's would be nice, but does he need a BKB? We've gone over this, the fact that it's just
No, I don't think he does, actually. I really don't think he does. He could just go straight Axe, and I would. Then Queen of Pain picks up an Aegis. I really thought that Ultimate was for the Scythe of Vice. They could benefit from the Scythe, really, if they can blow up, like, say, Juggernaut or Wisp even, before anything happens. Then it would be good, but he does go for the Skadi as well, so they have double Skadi. And
does the Queen does the Quap think that he's Shadow Fiend or something?
He has a bit of a Shadow Fiend build, doesn't he?
every step of the way,
Blade,
I saw
Skadi,
the Ultimate Orb and I thought, oh, it's a Hex. Yeah. Remember the Magi? Oh, it's an Orchid. No, it's Drums, Shadowblade, Skadi. Just going for all-out right-click, and I don't see why not.
D2CL picked up a full BKB, by the way, as in response to what his next item is going to be. And it's going to help him, I guess, right now for the next upcoming fight. I mean, as I said, Chinese players and against Ravage, they always buy BKBs. They are so predictable sometimes.
Tier 3 though being pushed onto. Rubik steals the blink again.
Yeah, I mean, they're really
like Shadow Strike.
Apart from Ravage, there isn't really too much to steal for Rubik right now. I mean, Via's Magic Missile is really good though, and Cask would be really good as well. But both of the supports are staying so far back, and he has a really hard time actually getting in and stealing anything of value.
Well, Aegis Immortal does expire. Roshan we'll find out when he respawns in a couple of minutes' time. The Dire just clearing through the Radiant jungle as Icy. You know, we were mentioning that he's going to really be the carry in this game for HGT. He's going to be the one that jumps in and makes these big calls. And to be fair, he has. He's found some pretty good initiations. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, his item progression hasn't been great. He hasn't really had the teammate follow-up to make his calls worth it. Yeah. And he's against heroes that can survive through any solo. You know, if you wanted to try and go and kill Queen of Pain alone, it's just not possible.
No. No, now she's even way too tanky to die at all. She's got 2k HP as well, Shadowblade and Blink. And finally, Refresher Orb does come out on RTK. Currently only having the level 2 Ravage, so mana pool should be manageable. HGT, I can't really fault Icy for doing anything. I mean, they only have 1 tower, so it's kind of obvious that they're, in terms of economy, they're going to fall behind rather heavily. Shadow Fiend, though, he's going to, after picking up the Skadi, finally starts getting some DPS in, going for the Butterfly next, and no MKB in sight for any of the HGT heroes, so it's a really good pickup. I think probably Butterfly and then AC next. I've seen Inflame do this build quite a couple of times. Like AC, Butterfly, and then start sieging high ground.
Yeah. What's Juggernaut going to do to stop you? He needs a Pistol Blade, he needs all sorts of items to even fight up against you. Never mind, fight up the remainder of your team behind the Shadow Fiend. Pretty Whore hiding in the side shop. They know the SF's here, but they don't know whether he's alone. Radiant... What
they can see it, right?
They can see... Yes, they can see the Spirit.
Yeah.
So they've got to have... Ah! My throat. They've had some pretty unusual wars to raging. You know, they've had one behind here, one over here, one over here. Apologies, guys, if you didn't realize I'm ill, and sometimes my brain, tongue, throat, they don't work in unison. So my brain's thinking words, and all of a sudden my throat's like, no, it's my turn to die. I'm gonna go to sleep now, but goodbye.
Oh, all fine. Solo cast, easy.
See ya.
See ya. No, but not for the next couple. I mean, we've got a few more series coming up anyway. So
I might
hopefully you can recover by that time.
Yeah. Or I'll just call Toby and say, yeah, I'm going back to bed. Good night.
Yeah, if that happens, then I think I probably won't be sticking in the caster. But
go back to bed yourself.
I'm probably gonna go back to bed. Yeah, I'm probably gonna make food and then go to bed though, in that order.
Oh wow, that's a quick Roshan respawn. That's super quick. So EHOME gonna be wandering themselves into that Rosh pit after taking a fight first? They're clearing through the jungle, sweeping across towards mid lane.
You kind of want to use double Ravage.
That's true. Refresher was picked up about a minute ago.
But RTK really has to watch his mana consumption now. It's level 3. He has to use Arcane Boost as well as Magic Wand in between.
Who they're looking for, because the split push is happening up on top. ZSMJ along with Kaka just trying to get towards this tier 2. The rest of the teammates though all split around and no one's really near this tier 3 mid. Viper's here to get some right clicks in, but EHOME backed themselves up.
EHOME there essentially just with the gem on Witch Doctor just making a sweep everywhere and then de-warding everything. There's just that one really sneaky ward that Rubik placed near the bottom tier 1 tower. It's still there, but apart from that, they have zero vision, they don't know anything, they have no intel whatsoever, so it's really hard for HGT. Essentially, EHOME, if they do it smartly, they just suffocate them. And at one point, they are so far ahead that they can go safely into the base without warring, for even if HGT buy back a few heroes.
Right, so Queen of Pain now with 2,600 gold. Do you want to guess or estimate what she's going to buy next, you know? Daedalus, Rapier, something random like that?
MKB?
MKB, yeah, I guess so.
I think MKB would be decent. Oh, Deso wouldn't work with Skadi, so... I don't know. Maybe she buys the AC, who knows? AC is overall, I think, a very good item this game.
Well, Shadowfiend has the Butterfly completed, just needs a courier to bring himself that Quarterstaff, while DDC is 700 gold away from his Aghanims.
Yeah, they are going to be so busy dealing with Quap as well as SF that I don't think nobody can do anything about the Witch Doctor in the backlines. And this play so far has been immaculate, I think.
Well, have either of them died yet? Okay, yeah, Venge and Witch Doctor have finally died. When was that? The fight in the dire jungle up here, I guess?
Yeah. Exactly.
Queen of Pain Illusion, super annoying, not really doing too much to air, but Roshan has already been taken.
Well, if they really want to play it safely, they are going to farm one more round, but I think they could attempt at least to high ground siege with Butterfly, Aegis SF.
And there's the 4-staff for RTK.
No, finally puts the Ring of Region to use, yeah.
He's 2,000 net worth ahead of the Viper now.
I mean, frankly speaking, if Viper would be on par, wouldn't matter. I don't think there's any item that AR could buy right now that would alleviate the problems that the HGT have.
Yeah, it's a big problem when you've got SF on almost 20k, 17.5 on the Queen of Pain, and then the lonely little Juggernaut who's going to be TPing back and looping around with a Maelstrom purchased. He does have, actually, let's have a look at buybacks. Queen of Pain and Juggernaut are the only heroes in the game with buyback available. So if EHOME managed to clear through tier 3 and a couple of heroes here, as long as they don't, you know, kill a Juggernaut, he buys back, and then HGT rally their forces and manage to push EHOME back. If they kill the Viper, basically if they kill anyone except the Viper, except the Juggernaut early on in the fight, they're probably going to take Rags.
Blink all.
Inflame has Aegis Immortal though, so he's not really the target you want to go for. Here comes RTK. First Ravage. The second one, I don't know if that was even needed. As Rubik gets demolished, stole the Ravage from RTK. And Juggernaut, ZSMJ, pops Dominant Slash now, looking for a kill on the Queen of Pain, who has to try and blink away, but doesn't?
She had cheese as well, I'm just saying.
Panic mode for Queen of Pain, but they're still going to take melee racks at the very least. Probably range on top of that.
Maelstrom! Oh wow. That item progression. What a clown.
Shreds, Drums, Shadowblade, Skadi, Maelstrom.
If you want to go Mjolnir, most of the time you would get the Maelstrom before the Skadi, right? Double buyback comes out. Inflame kind of being left to his own devices here. Doesn't have a TP either. But looks like the call is to go DDC. Yeah. Oh, he's gonna lose a gem.
Maybe they find DDC. It takes a long time to kill him. Only when ZSMJ gets some right clicks in, they finally find the kill.
RTK, what are you doing?
He is.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
Blinking towards the Juggernaut with full HP is kind of. But oh well.
Where he's going.
And Inflame's gonna be happy about that they didn't chase him. They could have attempted to kill him 2 times over, but they just. HGT decided to go for the easy kills, and despite the fact that Queen of Pain heavily misplayed that fight, it still didn't matter, you know. The second Ravage was also rather wasted, but they still get the objective, and they can afford to make this kind of mistake because they're so far ahead, and they have a lineup that just is a lot easier to play overall.
The second Ravage basically didn't hit anyone.
No,
the Viper was already dead. It may as well just have been a whiff Ravage completely. But, you know, style points to RTK using that refresher and getting the double Ravage out. Inflame, now he's got Butterfly completed, Aegis Immortal, and 4.2k gold. So they've breached the base, they've taken 1 set of racks, and it has been EHOME's game to lose from pretty much start to finish.
Yeah. I think it's just the draft just had such a huge impact in this game. Like if HGT, I think they just drafted themselves into a corner. Of course, you have a few heroes that you're comfortable with, but if you somehow get behind, as I said, there's no comeback mechanic. They can't do anything. If Axe is behind, he can't find solo pickups that easily. I mean, they even found the occasional pickup on the Queen of Pain when she was really far up, and then going with the relocate gank. And even that.
If they had Tiny Wisp here, I know it's not that common. I just want to check the bans of this game actually, because let's say that they had Tiny Wisp instead of Tiny Jug or instead of Tiny Viper. You know, maybe they go behind early game and they get crushed a little bit, but you're still gonna get that 15 to 20 minute agonyms. You're still gonna have an impact on the map. Let's have a look. D2CL picks and bans. Come on, come on. So the ban's out from EHOME. Tiny was not banned. And I know we don't often see Tiny Wisp in China.
We do, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think it's that common, but I think it's almost as common in terms of absolute numbers as in the European scene, because in the European scene, Wisp is banned more often. But even HGT, they are also a team that did run Tiny quite a lot. It's mostly Air Tiny. Like Air Tiny plus Kaka Wisp. They have had great success with it, so
I'm
confused.
I'm just thinking with like the Chinese games I've seen, I've not seen too much of Wisp or Tiny, whereas CIS games, you know, you're watching Vega and all the Russian teams, every time they get a chance, it's Tiny Wisp.
Yeah. It is rather impressive overall. I mean, on the opposing team, okay, Lano isn't playing this game, but kind of the pioneer of the Tiny Wisp strat. I believe if Lam would have his way, then he would still first pick Tiny Wisp every single game. So.
Oh yeah. I still remember his Wisp Bounty Hunter back in Tier 2?
It was after Tier 2, I believe, right? When for a short time, MMY was also playing mid lane.
Yeah. Well, that was nuts. They're just running around, tracking everyone, killing people. The blink forward, Icy finds Inflame, but doesn't call just yet. We'll get the Culling Blade on the first life of the Shadow Fiend as MKB has been picked up by the
Quab, are you really blinking in there? Oh.
Yeah, he finds the kill onto Axe. Icy drops, and now Shadow Fiend turns back and fights. Omni Slash from the Juggernaut flies across onto RTK. How lucky can he get? One more slash would have finished off the Tidehunter, but swap back onto ZSMJ will finish him off, and there's no buyback now. As RTK throws the first Ravage. Where's the second one? Go on. Go on! Into the base!
Style points. Come on. Blink Fountain Ravage.
Well look, he's cancelling animation. He knows he wants to. No. RTK, you've let us down.
In the end, the GG call coming off. No big surprise there. HGT, they just played it out to the end. Maybe just buying themselves a little bit more thinking time. Maybe they want a bit of a different draft next game. EHOME, rather convincing victory from start to finish, really. I don't think that any point were they in risk of getting the advantage overturned.
From draft to throne, EHOME coming out on top there. So that's game number 1 of this 2-game series, going the way of EHOME. We'll be back in a couple of minutes after some shiny adverts with game number 2.